Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for stopping by today. Great to be with you. Hope you're having a good day wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing. Whatever that may be. Getting ready for work, driving to work, who knows? We're glad you have it on, whether you're listening to it or watching it. And you can watch it on the stream, of course. If you go to letstalknutrition.com, that's where we stream. We stream up onto that platform, Facebook, YouTube, and Roku. So we're trying to connect. Communication is about connection, isn't it? At least in part. And we're seeking to do that with you. We want to connect. And in whatever ways we can, so we can talk about health, wellness, and well-being from an evidence, science-based perspective, from a traditional use, cultural perspective, whatever way we can get at what seems to help people do better in their day-to-day life on this planet. And we even talk about the planet. The show is primarily, the title gives it away, right? Let's Talk Nutrition, but nutrition becomes, it's the platform or the framework from which the show, that's its context, but we step out from that. But we eventually find ourselves stepping back onto that pathway, with nutrition being the first principle of health. Right? The body, health is created, maintained, reclaimed. Without nutrition, that's not going to happen. Not going to happen. No matter how many drugs they give you, no matter what procedure is done, sooner or later, the body needs the material to repair, to create, to maintain. It doesn't come just out of the ether, just oxygen. So, something to think about. That's a point of view of the show. And we try to delve into what's trending. Some of it obviously and directly related to health, wellness, and well-being. Others may be a little bit more angular. You may not see the connection at first, but eventually it'll emerge as I unpack the story and report on it. And Dr. Michael Lewis will be my guest today in the first portion of the show. Neil Levin will be the guest in the second. Two great guests, so we have it lined up. Stephen is out. Apparently he picked up the flu bug too. I said to him the other day, I said, don't get sick. Apparently Morgan's here today. So we Morgan, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. It's nice to see you. Thanks for filling in. You're hidden behind that one screen. I can't see you.
I am. I'm a little shorter than Steven. So
we have to boost
you can't see right through.
We have to boost that chair, or I have to stand
I've got
up.
A booster seat. I need to get one of those.
You hang out down at WFLA, don't you?
Yes, I'm usually over at WFLA, but you all get me this morning.
Well, good. We're very fortunate, and we appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Thank you. And connect to the show. We have any number of ways to do that. The only thing we don't have are carrier pigeons. Too much maintenance, but here's other ways to do it.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255, or you can email Dr. Garko at drgarko at Let's Talk Nutrition. That's his personal email. Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition. Follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can get everything closed captioned and archived, and that's Let's Talk Nutrition. The app is up. Don't forget, we do have an app, the LTN app, and you can watch us live on there, too. It's got 3 buttons. One is all the videos that have been up before. The second one is for offers through Vitamin Discount Center. And the second one and the third one is so you can actually visit us live online.
Excellent.
So,
yeah, we're trying to... Yeah.
Me and Fernando worked on that app yesterday, actually, so we're trying to...
So, in other words, a person, if they drift away from their radio, they're out walking around in the mall somewhere, wherever they may be, they can, if they have their handheld device or whatever, they could watch the show live from there.
Yes.
We didn't have that feature on the app before. We got it now.
No.
And we're going to be doing some other constructing on the show too next week. The video may be down for a day or two. We'll have to see. Just maybe a still image up there. You'll hear my voice, but we'll see. There's construction goes on with the show and with me. So I'll explain later. Unfortunately, I'm going to report on a story certainly related to health and involves a death. Apparently, Arizona is a place where they do a lot of testing with these driverless cars. And sometimes it's called the place where robots roam, Arizona. And yes, there was an incident yesterday where a self-driving vehicle struck and killed a pedestrian in Arizona. I know people that are involved in the science of this, the self-driverless science. I don't know whether you all know it or not, but Ford Motor Company is heavily involved, and they have a big project going on in the Pittsburgh area, as I know it. I know some people involved in that project. This is, the automation, robots. This is a wave of the future. It's here now, and it's going to have great bearing upon our economy, on our lifestyle, our culture. It's amazing. We're witnessing we're in transition here, and it's happening in a way that is somewhat undramatic, except for incidents like this. A self-driving Uber SUV yesterday struck and killed a pedestrian in suburban Phoenix. It is now, as I understand it, the first recorded death involving an autonomous test vehicle. Now, when incidents like this happen, there can be, the brakes, no pun intended, the brakes get pumped real hard and can have consequences for the development of this technology. The fatality really occurred Sunday night, to be more technically correct, in Tempe, Arizona, and was everybody thought this was going to be inevitable. When you have humans involved, we know it's inevitable, but, robots are not perfect either. So Uber, in a spirit of doing the right thing, immediately suspended all road testing of these autos in the Phoenix area. Pittsburgh area that I alluded to a moment ago, as I told you. It's my reporting. A lot of people don't know about that project in Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and Toronto. The testing has been going on for months. They reported on ABC as automakers and technology companies like the ride-handling service compete to be the first cars that operate on their own. Now, if you think about the implications of that, you call an Uber, and I have, and I'm sure you've called a Lyft as well, and somebody shows up. What if you called and the car, you need to bring that down. You need to bring that down. Thank you. And the car shows up. How comfortable would you feel getting in there? Come back, I'll tell you more about this. It's a shame. It's a tragedy. The Volvo was in self-driving mode with a human backup driver at the wheel when it hit this pedestrian. She was 49 years old. Her name was Elaine Hertzberg. She was walking a bicycle outside the lines of a crosswalk, police said. She died at the hospital. You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. We're coast to coast and we're global. Dr. Michael Lewis is my guest. We'll be right back.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
Tuning in today. Dr. Michael Lewis is my guest today. Just to close that story on the incident in Tempe, Arizona on Sunday evening when a woman was struck and killed ultimately by an autonomous vehicle. It was an Uber vehicle, an SUV. Again, I said that this automated technology, this robotic technology, it's present. It's in the news, but if you notice, it is rather low keyed. But make no mistake, billions and billions of dollars are being poured into this technology, and I support it. And it will change the landscape. It's going to change our lifestyle. It's going to change a lot of things. It may even change the way medicine is practiced. Who knows? The implications are manifold here. But the incident like this, now Uber pulled all of its driverless cars, and the government, the regulations, and all of that business. It's something to keep our eye on. I'll keep monitoring it, and I know some people that are working in Pittsburgh with Ford Motor Company, and they're driverless. They're working on this kind of technology. It's quiet. You don't hear much about it, but it's there, and it's a big deal. As I said, Dr. Michael Lewis, he's not in Pittsburgh. He's in the Washington, D.C. area, has a practice there. Dr. Lewis has been a guest on the show now for several years, and is on a medical board for CV Sciences, among many of the other things that he does. Dr. Lewis, welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be on.
Hey, Dr. Garko, how you doing this morning?
I'm going fine. Thank you for asking. So would you get into a driverless Uber car or Lyft that came to pick you up? There was no driver, just the car?
Well, the fact that I'm going to be heading to the airport tomorrow, assuming that we don't get snowed in here, no. In that word, no.
Yeah, it's interesting. It is sort of, this technology is far-reaching and has great implications for our culture, our society, and maybe, as I said, even the world of health and the world of medicine too. All this automated robotic technology. I'm excited about it, but there are some perils. So I know that you're a pretty forward-thinking guy. You just have any general thoughts about it? Or don't you think about it much on this issue?
There's a lot to discuss, and a lot of it that is in areas that I'm not necessarily well versed.
Yeah.
And a huge part of it is really the legal aspects of different things. I mean, so using robotics, states control medical licensure. There's no federal licensure, and so telehealth, telemedicine type of situation. So could I be in the state of Maryland and do a remote robotic surgery on somebody in Florida? Would I need a Maryland license or a Florida license? And everything I read.
That's an interesting point. And that is being done, right? Don't we have surgeons that are in one, literally geographic?
It is being done remotely, and so what I understand from the laws, which I don't necessarily agree with, is that it depends on where the patient is, the state that the patient is in, not the state where the doctor is. So
that's interesting.
But I'm not sure. I think it's a fluid situation and changing. As we, 100, 200 years ago, states had huge amounts of rights, and the world was a lot less complicated. But now, as we become more of a national and federal situation, states' rights are under siege, and in some cases they should be, and in some cases
they shouldn't be.
They should not be. So
right. I know it's
very complicated.
It is. You're right, Dr. Lewis. It's a mixed bag. Of course, I mean,
really, is the practice of medicine different in Maryland than it is in Florida, or should it be? No, I don't agree with that at all. I think it should be at a federal level, in my opinion. But
after all, if you buy a quart of milk in Baltimore, you should be able to buy a quart of milk in Boca Raton and know that it's safe, right? That the federal regulation is going to prevent it from being contaminated. So we're just talking about a quart of milk. I get your point. Of course, I've been the beneficiary of robotic surgery last year, and the surgeon, of course, was present locally. Literally and figuratively, he was right there, but it was a robot that performed the surgery. He did, he guided the surgery, but
right, it's robot assisted because a robot's hands don't shake as much as a surgeon's hands do.
Right, and they didn't have to slice me open. They just made 3 small incisions, did what they had to do, and we were done. Otherwise I would have been laid up in a hospital for a couple of weeks, and I walked out in a couple of days. So I've been the beneficiary of that, and I'm grateful. But other than that, we did not get to see you in California. I don't know if you were there or not. I walked by the CV Sciences booth. I did not see you there, though.
No, I've been doing a bit of traveling. I was at the Integrative Healthcare Symposium in New York the week before, and just didn't feel like making the trip out to California this time.
Integrative Symposium. Integrative Medicine, I presume.
Integrative Healthcare Symposium, yeah.
Well, we come back. Maybe we can get a highlight or two from you on that. Get a little bit of reporting, what that was all about, and what were the top two things that, or maybe top thing that you learned as you pulled away from there and say, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. We'll see. We'll find out what that's all about. The word integrative that word means something. Dr. Lewis will explain. Dr. Lewis is on the medical board for CV Sciences. They are the makers of CBD oil and leading the effort, the scientific effort, the commercial effort, the marketing effort, you name it, to get it into the mainstream in a legitimate, evidence-based way, safe way, effective way. Many charlatans out there. You must be alert.
The perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering. You're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace, for healthy sleep naturally.
And welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. Dr. Michael Lewis is my guest. Dr. Lewis is on the medical board for pardon me, for CV Sciences. Dr. Lewis, welcome back. Just in a word, that integrative conference you went to, your intention was there to go and do what?
Well, I was asked to speak about CBD, of all things, as you can imagine, and it was a great platform. I was on the same, not at the same time, but on the same stage as Deepak Chopra, David Perlmutter, Mark Hyman, and some other huge names in the world of integrative healthcare.
Wonderful. What was your essential thesis? What was the theme that you delivered to that audience?
Well, basically how CBD or cannabidiol from the cannabis plant in particular, I always focus on hemp because it's a nutritional supplement that you can buy over the counter, how effective and just how incredible it has been for my patients when talking about anxiety and general mental health.
And your specialty is a brain injury. Am I misrepresenting you?
Right. I'm not a neurologist or a neurosurgeon, but when I retired after 31 and a half years in the Army, I started a practice based on the work I had been doing in the military, and I focus almost exclusively on helping people recover after head injuries, concussions, and TBI.
Out of that 31 and a half years, how long of that period of time were you a practicing physician?
About 22 or 24 years or so, somewhere around there. Never really looked at that.
I know that Dr. Lewis sounds like he's 18, so if you do the math, you're thinking, wait a minute, he was in the military for 30 and a half years. He sounds like he's 18. He's got to be 70-something. No, he's not. We're showing a nice. He was only 18 when he went. No, I'm just kidding. Went to West Point.
No, I was 17.
Oh, I see. And people think I make stuff up. He was 17. He ended up in West Point, and he's had an illustrious career. And now he's in the private sector. Has a practice in Washington D.C. The word integrative here, CBD oil, as derived from hemp, is considered integrative in what sense, Dr. Lewis? Explain what that means, please.
Well, basically, you cannot, a physician does not have to prescribe and cannot prescribe hemp-derived CBD because it's a nutritional supplement. And so you can advise patients to take it, but you're not going to write out a prescription for it because you don't need a prescription for it. So any of your listeners can walk in off the street into a good healthcare, say a holistic pharmacy or a good health food store, and buy CBD over the counter without a doctor's note, a doctor's prescription. It's not medical marijuana, it's hemp, it's food. And so when it's derived from that, it is considered a nutritional supplement. I got to tell you, there's a huge confusion across the country on hemp. The whole cannabis concept is absolutely confusing to everybody because hemp is a form of cannabis, as is marijuana, but they're two very different things, and they're controlled very differently in the eyes of the federal government and in the eyes of state government.
Exactly. And it is not medical marijuana. And, human nature being what it is and the ambition to be enterprising and commercial in people's efforts to make money, there's a lot of charlatanism, as I alluded to, that's going on right now. And all kinds of hemp CBD products are in the marketplace, and all kinds of claims are being made. And some of those claims don't have supportive science. At CV Sciences, the effort has been to avoid that kind of approach and to do this in a very legitimate, evidence, science-based way, yes?
Absolutely. And, one of the things, and that's the reason why I was attracted to that particular company, is that and the key people that are in leadership positions. And their approach has been let the science speak for itself. And so I can tell you, any time I'm ever up on a stage or have a podium, I don't talk about CV Sciences and plus CBD oil. I talk about the science behind the cannabinoid system and the phytocannabinoids such as hemp. And, so CV Sciences concept is, if you just talk about the science, let the science speak for itself, and therefore they're not making any claims about what their product can do, because they're very aware of how the FDA approaches that concept, and it's not good. And so, like you said, there's lots of companies out there that are making wild and crazy claims, which are completely illegal in the eyes of the federal government.
Just as a sidebar, and I know that you're a tenacious and very thorough physician and person, and you always get informed. Have you come across, can you recommend a book or two that you thought was very informative and helped you to understand the endocannabinoid system better, as well medically trained as you are? You thought it was still helpful, that might be useful to the viewer or listener of the show?
Well, I would say the best source of the latest information is if you go to the NIH's website for PubMed, PUBMED, and if you type that in a search, NIH PubMed, and look at what's the latest scientific medical news about, if you put in as a search requirement cannabidiol or CBD or cannabis, you'll get the latest. And there's a number of, some of the articles you have to pay for through the publisher, but there's a number of articles out there that are free to anybody and can be downloaded. So I would recommend you find the latest review article that's free to download, but do it through the NIH, and you're going to get the latest scientific publications that are available to educate yourself.
Yeah, I'm always on PubMed. Cannabidiol, I just went there and typed in cannabidiol and got 1,960 hits. I could specify it, medical uses. I could put other keywords in there. I could narrow it down. I use PubMed, Cochrane, and other databases all the time. In my anatomy and physiology course, and the word endocannabinoid was never mentioned, ever. There were nothing.
Well, not until the mid 1990s.
Well, not in my textbook. Really most recently, and students that I've talked to, just last year before, it wasn't in their books either. It wasn't in my anatomy book, physiology book. Endocannabinoid was never mentioned ever. So
well, it will be with the next generation.
I hope so. We got to get them up to speed.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Figures Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Dr. Michael Lewis is my guest today. You heard Dr. Lewis make an allusion to the idea and the fact that he has integrated CBD, cannabidiol, a cannabis sativa constituent from the plant cannabis sativa, into his practice for anxiety disorders or patients suffering from anxiety. I went on PubMed just a moment ago, and I typed in a couple of keywords, and I came up with an article, a review of the literature. Headline on the study was, Cannabidiol is a potential treatment for anxiety disorders. And it was published in 2015, so it's not that old. Dr. Lewis, welcome back. So you have found it useful for your patients then?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my concussion head injury patients, almost every single one of them will be having a struggle with anxiety. And I'm not talking about somebody who had concussion over this past weekend. The people that come to find me have usually been suffering for months or even years after a head injury, and they almost universally have issues with anxiety. But what I'm also finding, which is a little bit of a surprise to me, is when I start people on good doses of omega-3s, as you know, and we've talked about before, but when I add in CBD, what I'm having people come back to me saying is that it has been life-changing. And when I dig into that a little bit more, they tell me their anxiety levels are under control or even eliminated, but they also find that it helps with the brain fog that you get after a head injury, that they're able to focus more and think a lot more clearly without that brain fog that often occurs after a head injury.
Wow. 877-897-8255 will connect you to Dr. Michael Lewis. I dare say then that someone who is under a lot of stress and anxiety often appear in the same sentence and in the same diagnosis. That's not unusual beyond head injuries. Do you think that cannabidiol, CBD oil, as it's made by CV Sciences, could help with the management of stress?
Well, I think it can indirectly. I mean, stress can be it's a two-way street. Stress can put you down the road of you need stress in some ways to improve yourself. If you're lifting weights, you need to stress your muscles to improve. So stress is a very positive thing when it's channeled in that direction, but stress can also then, if it's not channeled in a positive way, leads to anxiety, in my opinion. And so certainly if you get ahead of the game with being in balance, it's always about being in balance. And so our endocannabinoid system, our internal system that controls how we think, how we feel, how we react, is that endocannabinoid system, as you talked about, that is not even really in medical textbooks yet. And it's about balance. So the more you're out of balance one way or the other, the more that you would benefit from consuming CBD and to bring you back into balance. And if you're in balance and you take CBD, you're probably not even it's not going to hurt you, but you won't notice an effect or even as much of an effect. But is that the way to approach prevention as well? And I would argue it is.
Mm-hmm. And what Dr. Lewis is referring to there, stress can be a good motivator and positive and have beneficial effects. That's called eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S. And then there's distress, and you don't want that. There's also oxidative stress. In fact, there's an article entitled Cannabidiol as an Emergent Therapeutic Strategy for Lessening the Impact of Inflammation on Oxidative Stress. That's also from PubMed. That popped up here as I was talking to you. Oxidative stress and CBD oil. What do you make of that?
Well, there's two main types of receptors in our body for cannabinoids, and so they're in general. I mean, we'll learn about more and more as we discover more. And but the two main ones we'll call CB1 or cannabinoid type 1 receptors, and CB2 type receptors. And CB1 is what's found on neurons and in the brain, and CB2 receptors are more associated with our immune system, including in the brain with glial cells and all that stuff. But think about CB2 receptors kind of throughout the body and CB1 receptors more concentrated in the brain. And cannabidiol, CBD, interacts with both of those. And so when you're interacting with the CB2 receptors, it has the benefit of getting our immune system optimized and balanced to where it should be, not overreacting like you might see with rheumatoid arthritis, for example, and not underreacting, which makes us susceptible to infection. So it's about being in that balance, and the cannabinoid receptors, even our immune system, have a huge play in that.
Does and I don't know the exact mechanism of action here, I haven't looked at it, but, you have antioxidants, which are molecules or compounds that give up electrons to pair up with these other atoms that have lost an electron, and the antioxidant doesn't then become a free radical, and that's how we manage the oxidative stress. Does the cannabidiol help in that transfer of electrons to mitigate or otherwise donate electrons to these free radicals that have lost an electron? Do you know?
I'll be honest and say I don't know.
Okay.
Most of our knowledge in the scientific world is really more about what cannabinoids do in the brain, and so it's a lot less well understood what it does in our immune system.
Mm-hmm.
But because everybody's focused on the brain, and so we're just really getting a handle on that process. The immune system in the brain, though, it definitely affects the microglial cells and pushes them into one mode or the other, one that can be damaging and one mode that can be protective.
Sure.
And so cannabinoids push the glial cells to differentiate more towards the helpful ones versus the inflammatory, damaging ones.
Gotcha. And CV Sciences CBD oil derived from hemp, sold in fine health stores throughout the United States and North America. And visit their website, cvsciences.com. Dr. Lewis, thank you so much for being on the show today. We appreciate your contribution and your attempt to integrate cannabidiol, CBD oil from CV Sciences, not only into the medical field, but into the general culture and education of the consumer. We appreciate that very much.
Always a pleasure to be with you guys.
You take care of yourself, and we'll catch you the next time. Please give my best to Stuart Tomp and everyone at CV Sciences. We'll be back with... yes, sir. Take care. We'll be back on the second hour. Neil Levin will be my guest, and we'll flip a page. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in today. Great to be with you. Hope you're having a good day wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing. Neil Levin is my guest in this portion of the show, and he's going to focus on a very important topic. So much confusion, conceptual confusion, and myths surround this issue, and the issue is plant protein versus animal protein. And people break it down into, which one is better. It's not a matter of which one is better. They're different. And we need to have a better understanding of that, how they're different, why they're different, what do those differences really mean in terms of your nutrition and your day-to-day diet, short and long-term consequences. As I say, there's only 3 macronutrients. I've said that a gazillion times: protein, carbohydrate, and fat. And, people seem to believe, well, if you want to lose weight, you just go on a high-protein diet, like the South Beach diet. You see these commercials running on TV, young people running around in bikinis and bathing suits, losing tons of weight and telling you this and that. So... that leads people to think, well, that's what protein is supposed to, that's what it does. No. If that were the only thing it did, then we wouldn't have much to talk about. It is an essential, fundamental macronutrient, of course. And we want to make sure we understand what we're talking about here. And, of course, people get into these huge debates back and forth, between meat eaters, carnivores, and herbivores. And then, of course, we're omnivores. We eat both plant and animal-based kinds of foods. And so we'll see if we can clear some of that up today with Neil. He's a good guest to do that. And we invite you to join in the conversation. And much of what's interesting, a lot of the confusion is inspired by experts themselves, by the way. That sometimes they don't help matters either in the things that they have to say and how they say it and what they're promoting or self-promoting. Here's how to connect to the show.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255, 877-897-8255, or Dr. Garko's personal email at drgarko@letstalknutrition.com.
About 20% of your body is constituted of protein. Proteins are made up of building blocks called amino acids. There are 20 amino acids. You learn these things in chemistry. And when you look at the animal and plant sources for protein, you'll see that protein profiles on different foods, both within the plant category or animal category, are a little different. And one of the criticisms that people try to lodge against plant proteins, they say, well, they're incomplete. That word has all sort of negative connotations. Incomplete. Oh, so that means that I shouldn't eat those. I should just eat animal protein. You see how that could happen? So our language becomes important. Animal proteins are complete. They say plant proteins are not complete, so therefore, ergo, eat animal protein. You'll find that there are some nutrients that are more abundant in animal protein sources compared to plant protein sources, or vice versa. You'll find that people will use protein. It gets linked into many health benefits, but also like lowering heart disease and reducing type 2 diabetes and weight gain and so on. Animal protein also has health benefits as well as do plant proteins have health benefits. So there's a lot of back and forth and a lot to consider when talking about proteins, and I'm glad Neil has decided to do that. He's nutrition manager for Now Foods, and they're celebrating an anniversary. It's a big deal for the company, and congratulations, Neil. It's nice to have you back on.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we're celebrating our 50th anniversary this year with a big promotion.
So what was the company like 50 years ago when you started?
Well, I've been with the company 20 years, but Yeah, actually, the company's much bigger now. 50 years ago, it was a small operation out of the back of a health food store. And now it's probably the largest family-owned business in the health food industry. So we're talking about, dramatic change, and we're in about 60 to 70 countries. We're the largest purchaser of many of the ingredients people are familiar with, the trademark ingredients. A lot of those folks representing those ingredients are on your program regularly, so I know your listeners are probably familiar with trademark ingredients.
Sure.
And we're doing a gold cap program this year, 50 different items. Each one somewhere during the year is going to have, under the gold cap, a certificate to win $10,000.
Whoa.
So we're giving away 50 prizes of $10,000 for our top 50 products. Each one's going to have a winner sometime this year.
My goodness. Got to market that. Wow, that's... I suppose there was a campaign to make the public aware of that, yeah?
There is, and it's a gold cap program, so these particular products will have gold caps on them, which indicates the chance of winning a $10,000 prize under the lid.
And are these gold caps assigned just to certain categories of supplements or cut across the spectrum or what?
It's spread across. We have, 50 out of our 1,000 supplements with these caps, so, it's some of the best-selling products so that people have a good chance to win.
Very good. How have you been, by the way?
I've been very well, traveling a little bit and keeping busy. Got a trip to Iceland coming up this summer instead of winter for a change. That'll be different. So
it'd only be freezing then?
It might be 50 instead of 30.
What will you? May I ask? What will you be doing in Iceland? What will you be? To whom will you be speaking?
I'll be speaking to consumers and to retailers and training them about our products and some categories.
Mm-hmm.
It's my third trip there.
What kind of question? Depending on, I know the topic will drive the questions, but what are people, these experts in the health field, curious about when it comes to dietary supplements? Are there some common questions they have, notwithstanding the topic or theme that you're presenting?
Quality is a huge theme, and the testing and comparison with other brands. There's companies who are promising certain things, and they want to know how our products will compare with those promises. And sometimes the promises are realistic and very good, and sometimes they're overblown. Usually we can compete with most products in those categories.
Mm-hmm. I know you can. 50 years. The name of the family, just for the listener and the viewer?
Richard Elwood. Richard was the founder, and his son Dan and his nephew and some of his grandkids and nephews are actually working with the company now. So there's something like 30 or 35 family members that are shareholders.
Still family owned?
Still family owned ever since we were founded.
Wow. In Chicago?
Right. We're just west of Chicago, but most of the family is in this area.
Okay, when we come back, I'm glad you decided to talk about this because there is a lot of confusion that circles around this topic, right?
Oh, yeah. All
right, good. Well, maybe we can clear up some of the confusion and not contribute to it. You're listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. Neil Levin is my guest today, and I like this topic. And, we should not... my advice is not to be so parochial, ideological, narrow-minded when it comes to nutrition. Be open. Plants, animals, plant sources, animal sources. Yeah, embrace them both. Keep your mind open. Better for your body, better for your health.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilo Max, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension, exclusively available on Amazon.com.
So what should you eat? Plant protein, animal protein, both. Got to eat one or the other. You eliminate protein from your diet, get your papers squared away because you won't be around long. My guest is Neil Levin. Neil, welcome back to the show. So let's get to it. In your mind, what do you think are the highlighted differences, important differences, between animal protein and plant protein that would inform the viewer and the listener of this show?
Well, about half of the protein powders sold in the United States are milk proteins. And there's 3 major kinds. There's whey protein, there's casein, and there's milk protein, which is about 80% casein and about 20% whey protein, which is the way it occurs in milk. And when you're comparing the plant and the animal proteins, you get some differences. And the main difference when I'm looking at charts of essential amino acids, and what those are as you know, Dr. Garko, the ones that we cannot synthesize in our own bodies, and we have to get them from the diet.
Yes.
And there's some of the limitations of what makes a protein complete protein is if you compare complete protein, which is the ratio of these essential amino acids in foods, and you look at, say, whey protein versus rice protein. And you'll see that on the rice protein, the one single limitation is this amino acid lysine is below the level it would require to be essential, which means you're not meeting the profile of essential amino acids. Only some of that protein is going to provide all of these aminos in the right ratios, and you're going to have excess of other essential amino acids because you're lacking lysine. And that's one reason why people might supplement lysine in the diet if they're eating a heavy grain diet that's low in lysine. That's the old food combining thing that Adele Davis came out with in the 1960s of mixing grains and beans to balance these particular amino acids.
You know, it's curious. In nature, I think I'm correct about this. There are more species of plants that we eat than there are animals that we eat, correct?
Probably, yeah. Sure.
Okay. And that's interesting because it seems that nature sort of takes care of that for us. You know, there may be one amino acid or another that may be missing from a certain plant source. But typically people eat more than one type of plant, so you can combine certain plants, and we do that in the making even of, I'm sure you do it at Now Foods in your plant-based protein products, where you combine different plant sources to give a complete profile, yes?
We do have some combinations like that. And what's interesting is that Adele Davis originally said you had to combine these proteins at the same meal, and later she backed off of that and said really it's more important to get them the same day but not necessarily the same meal because amino acids aren't necessarily washed out right away. But you know, the concept of if you're eating a heavy grain diet that you might need lysine, or if you're eating a heavy legume diet you might need another essential amino acid, methionine, what is the basis of this whole food combining concept.
Mm-hmm. And at Now Foods, you have animal-based protein products, powdered form, bars, and whatever, and plant-based. Isn't it true that it's more recently where the plant-based proteins have really come into their own and people are now more comfortable and know that they can get a complete an array of amino acids in a plant-based protein product from Now Foods?
Yes, and that's one of the two categories of protein that's really been exploding in the last year or two. The plant-based proteins are huge, but so are the bone broth proteins, which is the other end. So you've got the meat-based protein and the plant-based proteins both doing very, very well, while the milk protein, still dominant, is starting to weaken as a percentage of how much of the protein people are buying. People are seeking out these other sources.
Here's just a quick list, just to give the the viewer and the listener a sense of some of the best plant protein sources, plant-based protein sources. You got legumes. That would, lupin, lectin, green peas, soy, and chickpeas. It goes on and on. But you have then spirulina, chia seeds, broccoli, quinoa, hemp seeds, leafy greens. There are a lot of nice plant protein-rich plant sources for protein. And some say that eating a diet high in the animal proteins that not necessarily whey or from a plant protein product, but eating meat, for example, beef, a lot of beef, contributes to cardiovascular disease. That's because some of these animal proteins are incorporated with other nutrients, right? Fat, fiber, whatever. Yes?
Yes, and it's also the substitution of meats for other things in the diet that would contain the pigments and the antioxidants and the fiber and all these other constituents that would be lacking in a heavy meat-based diet. You know, the meat has some important nutrients, but it's not full of all the nutrients you would get in plant foods.
Mm-hmm. 877-897-8255, toll free. That's how you connect and communicate on Let's Talk Nutrition. Neil Levin, nutrition manager for Now Foods, and the Now Foods celebrating its 50-year anniversary. They have a interesting giveaway going on right now. Gold cap. Neil will explain it when we come back. You can win as much as $10,000. Just look under the cap. Ooh, wow! Sign me up. We'll be back.
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
protein, animal versus plant. Difference. One better than the other, one more complete than the other. How much should I do every day? How much should I consume of either one or both? Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition, exploring some of these issues with my guest today, Neil Levin. The Institute of Medicine, in terms of how much protein per day, the Institute of Medicine recommends that an adult, on average, get a minimum of about 0.8 grams of protein for every kilogram. Kilograms about 2.2 pounds per body weight. Weight per day, excuse me. That's about 8 grams of protein, roughly, for every 20 pounds of body weight. In the United States, it's recommended that allowance about 46 grams protein per day for women over 19, 56 grams a day for men over 19. Those are rough numbers. Athletes will do a lot more. Some people do less. Some people don't know. Some people are not counting. One of the issues here with protein, some high-protein foods are healthier than others because of what nutritionally accompanies the protein. It could be healthy fats or harmful ones, beneficial fiber or hidden salt, for example. And it's the protein package, so to speak, that you have to look at. You know, if you eat a 6-ounce, let's say a 6-ounce broiled porterhouse steak, great source of protein, no doubt, complete, about 40 grams worth. But you also get 12 grams of saturated fat. Well, is that good? Should you do that every day? Probably not. A 6-ounce ham steak, wouldn't get me to eat that at gunpoint, but some people like it. That has about 2.5 grams of saturated fat, but it's loaded with sodium. Lots of sodium, 2,000 milligrams worth, or about 500 milligrams more than the daily recommended max. So you see, it's not so clear-cut. Get something good, but sometimes with these animal proteins, they got other issues. And then, of course, the plant proteins, the different sources, most are incomplete. They don't have all of the amino acid profile. The word essential proteins, you heard Neil allude to that. That means it's essential that you get those proteins from your diet because your body cannot make them. Neil, welcome back. It's great to have you on. So at Now Foods, let's talk a little bit about what you offer the consumer at Now Foods in these animal and plant protein categories.
All right. Before we do, let me just quickly say that they have compared whey protein to rice protein in athletes and bodybuilders.
Yes.
And compared them over 8 weeks of supplementation for body composition and exercise performance.
Yes.
And they found no difference. Even though a rice protein does not seem to have enough of the essential amino acid lysine compared to a whey protein, if about 30% of your daily calories are protein, it's sufficient. If it's a low-protein diet, which they estimate at like 10% of the daily calories, that's insufficient. You don't get enough of the essential aminos. So the difference evaporates in terms of efficiency when you get sufficient protein, whether it's a plant-based or an animal-based like a whey protein.
Mm-hmm. So at Now Foods, do you sell protein products that are strictly whey, egg, or plant, where you're just featuring soy or pea or whatever? How do you all do it?
We sell all the singles, including ones that are unflavored, unsweetened, which is actually a huge market for us because so many of the companies use artificial colors, flavors, sweeteners, and we find that people like making their own smoothies and things, and that if we offer an unflavored, unsweetened organic whey protein, for example, or a plain pea protein, organic, or a hemp protein, or those kind of things, sprouted brown rice protein, that people like it, and they like to jazz it up themselves with the flavors and sweeteners. Everyone has a different opinion of what is their favorite sweetener or flavor or what they want to blend it with. So it actually is more versatile to offer plain, even though we do sell a lot of the flavored ones. The plain ones tend to dominate in most cases.
The truth be told, I remember, I don't Now, I'm not eating every product on the market, but years ago, some of these plant protein products, not necessarily from now, but the pea protein and others, I mean, they were hard to consume, man. The taste was dreadful. Has that improved?
It does, but remember, when you're talking about natural flavors and natural sweeteners, you have a far more limited palette of options to choose from. So it's harder to mask some of these flavors, and to the credit of our food scientists in our labs and our culinary people, we actually have chefs and people on staff that help create these flavors, that they can try to do the most with the fewest choices, because we want non-GMO, we want allergen-free, we want all natural, and we have maybe 1/100th of the options of a company that doesn't care about being natural. So, it is more difficult, but the sales do indicate that customers do like our products, and even the plain ones. If you have maybe you like monk fruit sweetener, maybe you like honey, maybe you like stevia, maybe you want to use aspartame or something we won't use in your smoothie, you can do that with our products.
And that's good. You're giving the consumer degrees of freedom to make choices here. I see you have egg white protein products. You have, pardon me so much. You have whey protein strawberry powder. You have pea protein organic powder, pea protein straight up, soy protein straight up. My goodness, whey protein natural vanilla powder, unflavored whey protein isolate unflavored powder, sprouted brown rice protein powder, whey protein concentrate unflavored powder, whey protein Dutch chocolate powder. I mean, it goes on and on. I don't know how many SKUs you have in that protein category. It must be a bunch.
Oh, yeah, we've probably got 40 or 50 in the protein category alone. Yeah.
Holy cow. You guys want to make sure...
We give people choices, like you say, Dr. Garko. It's, if we want a plant protein, you can get plain vanilla or chocolate. If you want pea protein, you can get the different options.
Yeah, there's pea protein. You have one pea protein vanilla toffee powder.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty good to me.
It's worth a try.
It's worth a try. You're listening to Neil Levin from Now Foods. You can see one of the largest family-owned supplement companies in the industry celebrating their 50-year anniversary. What's that gold cap program going on right now?
50 different items. And somewhere during the year, under one of the gold lids, is going to be 50 $10,000 winners. You can win cash from our company.
Man, protein and money, too. You got to love it. We'll be back.
Are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Body Vigor's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Body Vigor's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Body Vigor's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
And here's the LTN health question of the day. Simple. I gave the answer several times, and Neil alluded to it as well. What are the building blocks of protein? A, amino acids. B, fatty acids. What are the building blocks of protein? A, amino acids, or B, fatty acids. If you have the right answer, you'll win a $25 supplement gift card. It's not a $10,000 prize for the Gold Cap program and now celebrating their 50-year anniversary, but hey, it's $25 or a gift card. Here's the number to call.
877-897-8255. 877-897-8255.
Neil, I'm going through I'm at nowfoods.com. Wonderful website. So much information there. It's great. And I just typed in proteins in the search engine. I came across sprouted brown rice protein chocolate powder, grass-fed whey powder concentrate, unflavored powder, soy protein isolate, natural vanilla powder. It goes on and on. Sprouted brown rice protein. You telling me that there's some human being walking around the earth saying, you know, I got to get that sprouted brown rice protein, will come hell or high water. What, Neil?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Rice protein is very good at pulling arsenic out of the soil, which is a naturally occurring heavy metal. And if you sprout it, it's not as likely to do that.
See how smart you guys are at Now Foods. I did a show on that not long ago, talking about rice and arsenic. So sprouting moderates that. What does the sprouting do? I mean, can you explain that a little bit or no?
You're not growing it in the soil, pulling up more arsenic.
You're sprouting it.
Yeah.
How cool is that? See? Using your noodle. That's excellent. Please share with the listener, what is the difference between isolate protein and concentrate?
Oh, well, this is primarily for whey proteins. And when they make cheese, they get the liquid called whey, and it's half sugar and half protein. And there's different techniques to try to concentrate the protein, remove the sugar. And when they make a concentrate, you have usually about 75 or 80% protein. If they do an isolate, which is kind of like doing a reverse osmosis or a filtration and removing more of the sugar, you can get up to 90 or 95% protein, and that's called an isolate.
They remove the fat as well in the isolate, don't they?
There's very little fat in the whey protein, but yeah, the microfiltration removes any large particles, and that includes things like hormones would not be surviving this microfiltration process.
And the advantage for the isolate is what? Less calories? Is that it?
You're getting more protein. If you look at taking a, say, 28-gram serving of protein powder, you can get on a concentrate somewhere between 16 and 20 grams of protein. On an isolate, you get somewhere around 24 grams of protein for the same serving size.
So why make the
buck?
Why make the concentrate then?
It's less expensive and it's less processed. Some people like having these other constituents in there. Some of the immunoglobulins, for example.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go to Barb. And Barb, welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. It's great to have you on, Barb.
Okay.
So, proteins, we have to have building blocks for them. Are those building blocks amino acids or are they fatty acids?
They're amino acids.
They're amino acids, and there are 20 of them, roughly. And congratulations. Do you think and worry about how much protein you're eating or what kind at any given time or what?
Yeah, I think protein gives me energy and helps build good muscle mass. And, it's needed.
Do you do like whey protein powders or protein powder products, plant or animal sources?
I mainly do whey.
Okay. Okay, good. I don't know if you've ever tried Now Foods, brand of protein powders. They're wonderful. They taste great. The company has done a great job. They have probably one of the most, how can I put this, concentrated and isolated array of protein products in the marketplace. It's just amazing. They got like 40 SKUs of all the different choices that you can make. Really amazing. But if you haven't tried them, I would urge you to give them a try sometime. But I thank you so.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Sure. We won't even charge you a quarter.
Okay, fantastic. I read where threonine can help produce lacticity in your body, produce protein lacticity.
Is that true?
And can you get threonine by itself? Not theanine, threonine. Can you?
How are you spelling that?
It's a THREOINE, threonine, and it's mainly in it's in protein supplements.
Neil, you have a comment on that?
Maintain proper protein balance in the body. It's also used as a mineral transporter. For example, bringing magnesium into the brain.
Is she
it has other functions, including cardiovascular and immune.
Is she talking about theanine or threonine?
Threonine.
Threonine. And that is in plant or animal proteins, Neil?
That would
How
be
can you buy it by
both.
itself? How can you get it by itself? Like other supplements, you can get like L-lysine and other things. You can get it by itself. How can you get it by itself?
Can you buy
threonine?
Yeah. Can you buy it freestanding?
Well, we sell it as a combination with magnesium because it's research at UCLA indicates that's the best form of getting magnesium into the brain.
Okay.
So we don't sell it as a single. I'm sure some companies do. It's a exotic form of amino acid.
Did that answer your question, Barb?
Yeah, now sells a product that has magnesium and threonine together
yes.
in the store?
It's
yes,
called
they do.
Magtine. Threonine is an essential amino acid, so it's in proteins.
Right. So you can get it at Now Foods combined with magnesium.
Yay!
All right. I'm glad we could serve you well. Thank you so much. Congratulations on winning a $25 supplement gift card. Neil, thank you, and congratulations on the 50-year anniversary at Now Foods. You all look out for that gold cap. There's $10,000 hiding under one of those bottles and one of those lids.
Have you discovered that your post-activity electrolyte drink contains